here today. This is one of those master classes that you're going to enjoy every bit of because we'll be doing something very practical today. But before we delve into it, I'd like to meet every single one of us on this call. So just let me know your name and where you're joining from. All right, just drop that in the chat, your name as well as where you're joining this session from. Okay, I've got a couple of ushers, just take a look at your screen. You'll see them welcoming you in. Okay, so I see Remo, you're welcome. Olisa Kate from Lagos. Just let me know your name as well as where you're joining from. Olisa, you're very welcome. All right, leave the responses, just keep them coming. Joining from Sunderland, beautiful. Okay, so one thing, just one tip before we get started. This is going to be a practical session. And if you want to get the most from this session, it is popularly known that it is sessions that you participate in that you'd get the most from. So just try to engage as much as you can, chat, interact, ask questions. And that way it's going to stick and you're going to make the most of your time. All right. Thank you once again for joining in. My name is Priscilla, and I'm going to be your co-host for today. So today we'll be talking about how to use Power BI to build a sales and customer performance dashboard. If you know what Power BI is, please leave a yes in the chat. Power BI. If you've heard of it before, if you know what it means, if you know, if you've used it before, just yes, all right. I see. Fantastic. We don't have newbies here at all. That's good. So if you're a newbie, you don't know what Power BI is, but you're here to learn, okay? Leave a one in the chat. If you don't know what it is, you haven't heard of it before, but you want to learn, okay? Just leave a one in the chat. All right, leave a one in the chat if you don't know what it is. Okay, now while you're doing that, literally going to be using Power BI to build a sales and customer performance dashboard today. You're going to learn a bit more about Power BI from my colleague, okay, Basi. But before we delve into that, who are we at Tenalytics and what do we do? I know that I've got a couple of OGs in the building, people that have joined Tenalytics sessions multiple times. But for those of us that are joining for the very first time, Tenalytics is a leading educational company, educational technology company. And what we do is to help people get into tech, not just get into tech, but also land high paying jobs in tech. So we take you from wherever you are as a complete novice or beginner, and then we help you until you're able to achieve that. So we're located in Alberta, Canada. We also, have partnerships with a company located in London, United Kingdom. All right. And we've been doing this for over 5 years now, basically helping people transition into tech. And in the space of 5 years, we've helped over 4,000 plus people with zero experience. All right. So people that don't have experience, I don't have a degree in computer sciences, I don't like mathematics or anything like that. So we've helped over 4,000 plus people get into tech from the classroom. All right. And if you let us today, that's something I'd also like to achieve with you. So we've got a couple of employees, over 182 full-time employees with 300 plus industry experts. Now, tech is really broad, so we don't help you transition into all aspects of tech. We're very intentional about the careers in tech that we help you transition into and have them there on my screen. So today we'll be doing something related to data analytics, and that's one of the career paths that we can help you transition into. All right. Now, feel free to check us out on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and the likes. Okay. Now, myself, Priscilla, I'm your co-host, like I said, and I'm a passionate educator, a data expert, and a career strategist with close to half a decade years of experience in the world of blockchain technology and data analytics. Now, here at Analytics, what I do is to, speak to professionals that are looking to get into tech and help you figure out the best tech career path for you because your success in tech is determined by the career path that you actually decide to get into. So I sit with you, ask you questions, and help you map out the best path for you to go into in tech. All right. So that's what I do in a nutshell here at Analytics. Then to my co-host for today, my colleague Bassi. Bassi will be the one taking you through the technical part of the session and the practical. Now, Bassi is a data analyst and an AI consultant. Please confirm that you can still hear me. If you can hear me, just leave a yes in the chat. I just need to be sure that you can still hear me. All right, thank you. So Bassi is a data analyst and an AI consultant and is passionate about transforming raw data into actionable insights. Is currently a senior data analytics associate at Analytics and is basically guiding learners through practical data analytics concepts. Okay, it helps learners understand how data can improve business decisions. It helps learners identify trends and all of that. So this is who Basi is. And he's got experience working with a couple of tools, Python, Excel, SQL, Power BI, machine learning, and the likes. Now, Basi is going to come up now and take us through the technical bit of the session. So what I want you to do while we welcome Basi on stage is if you know somebody that is interested getting into data analytics or getting into tech, please just invite them for today's session and then we're going to pick it up from there. All right. So Basi is here already. Hi, Basi. Can you hear me?
Hi Priscilla, how are you?
Yeah. Very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Okay, so thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. So it's good to have each and every one of you here, and I hope we're all excited to be here though. And if you're really excited to be here, I want to see your reactions. Like that's what I want to see. I want to see your reactions popping up on the screen. Okay. If you're excited to be here, let me see your reactions coming up. Let me see your reactions. I want to see your reactions coming up. Uh, Oh, amazing. Lovely. I can see some reactions in the chat. Lovely. All right. Perfect. So that means it's good to be here, right? And through this we're going to learn something new, right? And I think I should just dive right in. Let me not keep everybody just so curious and waiting. However, so my name is Basi Dominic, and just like my colleague has already introduced me, right? I am here to take you on the practical aspect of this program, right? And we're going to be looking at a case study. We're going to see how we can actively use Power BI to solve problems in the real sense, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to make that very exciting. Okay. So this is a case study that is actually like, in fact, this is like a real case study, right? This is a real case study that has to do with an organization. Okay, not the main data, but this is a real case study that is associated with an organization in New York City, actually, right? And they are into expanding into coffee production and sales and all that. Okay, and they have different branches around Lower Manhattan, right? Hell Kitchen and etc. Right? And then this data set is going to be spanning like from a period of time, which is like January to June 2023. That's when the data set is spanning. So you see all these small details are like things that you coming in, as an analyst or a marketing analyst, because now you're going to be niching down, right? You're going to be experiencing, right? You're going to be seeing how to pick this detail because this is one of the things when you are like putting your CV, you said attention to details. So part of the things you get to do is just paying attention to little details, right? So we're going to be focused on how marketing and commercial teams actually do with clean sales data. So they have to find out what is working, what is not working, and then how can we make the next dollar. So sometimes you got to be curious. How does the organization get to make money, right? So how is does data at the back end get to influence the organization making money at the end of the day, right? So that's something you're going to learn in today's class. And the next thing is that you're looking at this now, what you're going to be mastering in this class, even though it's going to be a little um, class, right? You're going to be mastering how to do some little data cleaning, how to write DAX. And DAX now, we're talking about data analysis expression. These are like amazing things that you can learn, and it is going to make you exceptional if you come into this field, right? And then you're going to be learning how to build a very interactive dashboard. There are sometimes you just look at it, you just see some very nice dashboard, maybe on LinkedIn, just somewhere on the internet, you just see something and you're like, wow, it's something I can do. Yes, it's something you can actually do. Okay. And then this is just a little brief about the organization, right? So we're going to be helping the marketing team consolidate how its stores and products actually perform. And we're going to be using the tool Power BI, just like some persons have already said in the chat that they are conversant or they know Power BI. Possibly you've not really used it, but you have an idea of it, right? And then this is now the company's introduction. So this is a little brief about what the company is about, right? So just for the purpose of this case study, we're working with the Coffee Project New York. That's the company itself, right? So it's actually a real independent multi-location New York coffee, right? Company. Okay. Oh, okay. So um perfect. So I guess you can see my screen properly now. Okay. So now, yeah. So this is what the company is just about, and they span across New York cities, right? And they have different locations around, and comprising of all the three locations I also mentioned earlier. And then this is now the business problem. So that means to every single thing that you do as an analyst, definitely an organization sees you as someone who solves problems. So that means in your CV, anytime you write a CV, you get to see when people put analytical thinking, you get to put problem solving skills, right? So that means it's associated to the kind of job you actually do. So imagine you as a marketing analyst, you're definitely going to be solving problems. And that means organizations will always be having problems that they need you to come in and solve, right? So definitely that's why we have a business problem. So now looking at this now, we see that the marketing team actually just struggling with knowing what exactly is going on, how the stores performing, how the products actually performing, what hour of the day do we actually make the best sales? So in fact, how do we even go about marketing campaign? Like how do we market our product? How do we move our product from where they are to where they need to be? Like how can we just make money? What's happening? All right. That's where you are needed as a marketing analyst. So the role here is being engaged as a marketing analyst, and you're trying to solve this problem for them, give them answers to basic questions at the end of the day. So they could be confident enough, right, to solve the problems, to be able to handle this and then make good sales at the end of the day. And then this is just like a sample of the email that came in from the organization to us, right? So this email came in so that we can just understand, knowing that, oh, we're actually very important. We are really, really needed at the end of the day, right? So this, I'm just going to give you a little brief of this message. So it says, dear analyst, we got 6 months of clean transaction data across our three locations, but no one on marketing team has had the time to turn it into something we can actually act on. So before we plan our Q3 marketing calendar, we need to understand where our revenue is really coming from, which stores, which products, which hours, which days. We just want to understand these things. We just want to know them, right? So specifically, we want to know if our slower afternoon hours are worth the promotional push. So like I said earlier, they're trying to see how do we do marketing campaign? Which product should go out first? Which of them is making the most revenue? Where should we invest our money in? So all these things are just coming into why you get to be as a marketing analyst, and then get to actually see how you can actually help them make decisions at the end of the day, right? So now, whether tea deserves its own campaign alongside coffee, and whether one of the three stores quietly underperforming and needs local supporting, just basically all this. So at the end of the day, they just wanted to build a dashboard. They just wanted to help them solve the problem. So that's why you're coming in as their analyst at the end of the day. So we're just going to walk through the data set, which is going to be bringing the data set in. We're going to clean it with Power Query. We're going to write some DAX, and then we're going to also design dashboard. Well, nothing very complicated. Just something that you're just going to be sitting down, chilling, sipping your tea, and or maybe your coffee, okay, or just taking a juice, and you're just going to be enjoying the whole thing. So if you know that you are actually excited to dive into this project, okay, before I move on, I still want to see some reactions. If you're still with me, I wanted to see how you are excited about this. So if you are with me, type one in the chat. I'm watching right now. If you are with me, type one in the chat. Okay, I can see one. I can see what. Okay, someone is raising their hand. Okay, I can see one. I can see one. Okay, someone is asking, how do I get Power BI app? Okay, for you to get a Power BI app, you can definitely download it from if you're using a Windows system, mostly you can download it from your Microsoft Store, right, on your Windows system. Okay, you just type Power BI desktop and you're just going to see it and then you just install it. It's free. It's a free app actually. So you can just download it and then start making use of it. You don't even need to sign in, right? Yeah. So I can see, oh yeah, like I said, it's free. It's free. Perfect, perfect. Good, good, good. So I can see that I have people with me, so I can now continue, right? So now we're writing the task and then design dashboard, right? And then now to every single data that you're working with, you definitely need a data dictionary, right? So a data dictionary is just like something that gives you an insight to know what exactly does this thing mean in a data set. Okay, what does it mean in a data set? Just like how you have an English dictionary, have a French dictionary, have a German dictionary, the same application comes into what you are actually doing here, right? So as an analyst, you definitely need a dictionary to define all the columns that are there in your data set, right? So this gives you an insight because you are not the one that generated the data set. So how on earth do you work with something that you did not do? You need to get something that helps you to understand what that means, right? So that's what the data dictionary gets to do for you, explain. And then those that might want to join me in the course of this, I think my colleague has already dropped the link to this data set, okay, in the chat. So you can go to the chat.
Hi, everybody. So it seems like Basti has just encountered a technical difficulty. So while we're waiting for him to join back in, you can actually just download the data set. I'll leave the link here in the chat again. If you want to get Power BI, it's easily gotten via your Microsoft Store. So just go on there and search for Power BI Desktop. I'm going to type it out here in the chat and ensure the desktop is there. Okay, ensure you're looking out for the desktop, then download it, and you can go ahead to download the data set. All right, so just while we're doing that, if you've downloaded the data set, please leave a yes in the chat. So we just download before Basi's back on. Okay. Oh, it has to be your laptop actually. All right, Abiodun, you need to use your laptop. Okay, Remo, good. Matilda, fantastic. All right. So let's keep it coming. How many of us have downloaded the data set? So just go ahead and download. All right. Okay. So I think Basi is here now and we can continue. Meanwhile, for those of us that are still downloading, you could just, try to wrap it up so you can follow along. All right. Basi, are you back on?
Yes, yes. Sorry about that
Okay.
though.
No problem. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So, like I was saying, you'll need actually to have a data dictionary to definitely work with your data to understand what exactly does your data mean and what they get to explain. So, like I said earlier, and I think my colleague has already said, the data set is already in the chat box. So you can just click on it and then get to download it and then let's work together, right? And this is what the dashboard just looks like. So I hope you're excited to build something that looks like this. Okay, at least for your first time, you should be able to build something that looks like this. All right. So if you're excited to build something that looks like this, then let me see you type three in the chat. I want to see you type three in the chat. I'm waiting, I'm watching. Three in the chat. Who is excited? Okay, I can see Matilda. All right. Who else? Okay, I can see Mobola. I can see Temitope. Okay, amazing. Lovely. I can see Abiodun. All right. Chi, lovely. Good. So we're going to be building this together, right? We're going to be building this dashboard together. Something beautiful, all right, and simple. So now, this is where I'm going to be changing my screen, and I will change it to my Power BI interface so that you can see. Oh, right. So kindly confirm that you can see my Power BI interface right now. Can you see my Power BI interface? If you can see my Power BI interface, let me see you type two in the chat. Two in the chat if you can see my Power BI interface. Okay, two, I can see two. Good. All right, good. I need to see more twos. Two in the chat. Okay. So then we are good to go. We are good to go. We're good to go. So now, this is just the main interface of Power BI. Basically, I'm just going to walk you through very quickly, right? Very quickly. So I don't want to bore you, right? So this is just the main interface of Power BI. It doesn't take, it's not something so different, right? So majorly you use Power BI to like design dashboard. Like you want to do quick analysis, you can definitely come to Power BI to just do that, right? And you have Excel that is there. You can use Microsoft Excel, right? So now this is just Power BI, and then I'll just give you a brief, which is if you look at this interface of Power BI, you have the title bar where you have your title up here. Then here you now have like your tabs, right? These are like your tabs, your different tabs in your title bar, right? After your title bar, you have your tabs where you get to navigate. Then you have your ribbon bar, which is what is here, where you now get to see how you can transform your data, you can get your data, all that and all that, right? And then you now have different views. So these different views get to just bring you in where you just see your report view, which is where you get to build your visual. So how many of us have done sip and paint before? You've done sip and paint. If you've done sip and paint before, let me see you type five in the chat. You've done sip and paint before. Let me see you type five in the chat. Sip and paint. Anybody? Have you ever done or ever gone for sip and paint before? Okay, Joseph, one person. Who else? Who else? If you ever done sip and paints, okay, Patrice. All right. Who else? Good. Who else? Are you serious? The rest, we've not gone for sip and paints before. Okay, fine. You've never gone for sip and paints before, but at least maybe while you were scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, right? You were just scrolling through the internet. You've seen some persons, they've done sip and paints before, right? So sip and paint is like where you just go to paint, you draw, just take a wine and then you're just sipping and you're just painting, you're just drawing something. That's sort of like sip and paint. So now that's view where you make the drawing, that's stuff that it is given to you where you make that drawing on. It's called a Canva. right? And that's the same ideology that is now brought into Power BI. So this interface, this white interface where you see build with your data is called a Canva, right? Where you now get to build, design your dashboard, do all the reports, whatever your visuals you want to do, you get to design them here in your Canva, right? So that's basically it. So that's the concept of it. And then you now have your table view here. Your table view here is like where you get to see your data that you're done cleaning at the end of the day. And then you now also have like your modeling view where you get to do data modeling. Don't worry, all this one is just something, that you can always learn. That's why it's something that could interest you to come in and then learn more. All right. So data modeling is like when you have more than one data set that you bring in all together, and then you just have to see how to connect them, then to analyze data at the end of the day. Then you now have like DAX, where you now have your data analysis expression, which is like you're trying to create a formula. Back then in school, when you were in school, you'll be thinking of how does quadratic equation work? Those that ran away from mathematics class, right? I'm sure some persons they were in mathematics class then, and then they had to run away because the formulas are too much. The formulas are too much. People are not writing formulas everywhere. Okay. So that's the concept of that is brought into Power BI, right? DAX, where you get to like generate formulas, you get to create new formulas at the end of the day. So that's where DAX comes in. So DAX helps you to create formulas for you to use. So that doesn't really appear in your um data set, and you want to solve a problem with it, and you just want to create a new formula that could just help you. Let's say maybe there's no revenue in your data set, and you want to like create revenue, okay, which is like unit price times selling price, right? You want to create it. So in that scenario now, for you to multiply that, creating that formula, you use DAX to create it, which is now where you now talk about measures. So that DAX is called measures on here, right? Good. So you now have your data pan where you get to see your data, right? And then you have your visualization pan here. So this is it by the right, where you get to have all your different visuals that you can work with. There are so many visuals you can work with, right? And even when you need more visuals, you can come here to the three dots down here, and then you get more visuals from it and all that. So basically, I just had to walk you through this whole interface of Power BI so that you can get conversant with it, right? Good. So now, where like you now they're trying to follow me, I'm sure when you open up your Power BI, right, you should definitely see this particular interface first. This should be the first part you see. So once you see this interface, the next thing you can just click on is just blank report, right? So once you click on blank report, it will definitely bring you to this interface where I am. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that in so that you won't feel confused and say, my own Power BI looks so different. I don't know. It seems like yours is it's not different. It's the same thing. Okay, I don't mind the way mine is. Having the dark background. That's just my own customization, and you can also do that yourself. So you say that it's a flexi kind of job that we're doing right here. Okay, so if you come down here, now we want to bring in our data set that you've downloaded, right? So we come down to get data. Once you come to get data, you come to Excel workbook because you need to know the extension file of what you're working with. And the file that you just downloaded is an Excel file, right? So that means you're bringing it, and it's the coffee shop sales. That's data set. So you just click on it. Once you click on it, you click on open. And since I already have mine loaded up, so I won't go to that aspect. But once you open it, it's going to show you something that has to do with like pre of the data, right? So that pre-data, let me just use this interface to just show you that, right? So I'm just going to be going there. So if you know that you are with me, you are following me, you are following me. Let me see you type number 6 in the chat. You are following me. You're actually following me. Let me see you type 6 in the chat. Okay, good, good, good. Ade is with me. All right, all right. So who else is with me? Okay, I have X, I have Patrice, Ray. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. That's good. So I'm sure definitely you see an interface like this. So let me use this to show you the first interface. So if you bring this and then you click on this now, you should definitely have something like this pop up on your screen. Yeah. So you should have a pop-up like this on your screen, right? Showing you what that data looks like a preview. Then you can just click on this transaction and then you just see the data set. So it just gives you like a preview of what your data set looks like, right? And then at the end of the day, when you look down, you're going to see load, you're going to see transform, and you see cancel. So majorly you get to like load, transform your data. That's what you're going to click. So you click on transform data, which is showing below. And once you click on transform data, it will bring you to this interface where I was. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, this particular interface. That's where it's going to bring you to. Okay. So the transform data brings you here where you now do. So this is now the interface we now call Power Query interface. Okay. So that whole Power Query we're talking about, cleaning Power Query, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So it's looking beautiful. And you don't have to worry yourself. Yours might not look exactly like mine. Like I said, mine is customized. I customized it myself. So that means you have the leverage to also customize yours. Good. So now this is what our data set now looks like. Like I said, we're trying to see how we can help the marketing team to understand what their data looks like, what's going on in their data and all that, right? So that's what we have here. So basically, this is all we have in our data. We have the transaction ID, we have the transaction date when the transaction was made, we have the transaction time, right? And then we have the transaction quantity, we have the store ID, we have the store location, we have the product ID, we now have the unit price here, and then we also have what's the product category as well. We have the product type here, etc. And then finally, we now have the product detail. So we just have all these insights coming in, and we get to work with it to help the organization to actually solve real problem at the end of the day. Oh, can you see my screen? Let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. Let me share this. All right. So I think, can you see my screen now? Please, can you confirm that you can see my screen now? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Sorry that you weren't seeing my screen before. So now this is my entire screen, so you can see it. All right, all right. So this is the Power Query Editor interface, like I said, right? So once you click on transform data, it brings you in here for you to now be able to see how to transform, how to clean your data, how to work with your data, how to just transform your data to being clean. So majorly, this data is not really messy data. It's just something that we're just going to work with, right? And then one thing I want you to also note is about data Power Query here majorly deals with what? Data type. So data type is like, let's say, um, the type of data, okay? The type of data that is associated with what you have. So just like if we look here now, these are like data types now. So we have decimal numbers, we have fixed decimal, we have whole numbers, we have percentage and etc. and etc. We have text. So all these are like data types, right? So it's not something complicated. So if you look at this data set now, you just know that this transaction ID, they are numbers, right? So that means the data type for it is what? Numbers. And you look at this is date. So if you look at it, you now say, this is a date, right? This is a date, what's it called? A date data type, right? Good. So the same thing happens here. Here is just time, and here is just numbers as well, numbers, and then here is text, right? So you just get to like, if you click on it, you can just change it from what it is. So maybe if the data type that is showing here by the side of the column doesn't match, you just get to just come to the data type. Just click on that small button that you see by the side of it, maybe 1, 2, 3 like this. You just click on it. Once you click on it, it just shows up, okay, gives you a drop down, and then you now move into changing it to what it's supposed to really look like, right? Which is here is numbers. So I think majorly on your own end, you can just change this transaction time, right? You can change it to time. I think yours might be showing date time. So you can change it to just time, just have time there. And then you come down to the part where you have unit price. So in unit price, you can just change it to fixed decimal number, which is like currency, right? Because this is now money. We're talking about price, money, right? Good. Yeah. So we change it to money, right? And I think that's basically it. That's basically it. So we don't really want to spend so much time here. Our major goal is we want to build a very good dashboard, right? So once we are done with that now, we can now come down to the top part here, and we are going to see what close and apply, right? We're going to see close and apply. So you click on it now. Once you click on it up here, in your bar, you see close and apply, and then you see the first one, close and apply. Not just apply, but close and apply. So you click close and apply, and it will bring you back to this particular interface. So if you know that you're with me to this point, let me see you type 7 in the chat. You're with me up to this point. Let me see you type 7 in the chat. 777. I want to see 7. I want to see 7 in the chat. I want to see 7. Okay, Chi. I can see Chi. Chi has typing 7. All right. Who else? Who else? Okay, I can see a Abiodun. 7. Good, good. Ade. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Matilda, Kolede. Good, good. So, Seb, Joseph. Amazing. Good. We're all on the same pace. Good. So now that we have loaded back our data here, this is where we're going to be building our dashboard, right? We're going to be building our dashboard, and then we're also going to be working with DAX. And I'm not really going to spend so much time with the DAX. I'm just going to show you a preview. You can always come back to this video and like watch it, okay, to follow through, right? So majorly, the DAX is already here in my data set, right? So I'm just going to be opening them for you to just see them and then just talk about it briefly. Then we just move down to building our dashboard. So the first thing I created was like revenue, right? Total revenue, like I said. So if you look at your data set, you do not have revenue there, right? So for you to create a new task where you can now calculate your revenue to use. Oh, someone is already lost. Kate, Kate, why are you lost? Please don't be lost. Don't be lost. Am I too fast? Okay, I'm going to slow down a little. I'm going to slow down a little. All right. I'm going to slow down a little. So, like I said, once you are done creating or cleaning your data in Power Query, you now click close and apply. And close and apply now loads it back to this interface where we are right now. Okay, so it loads it back to this interface. And once it loads it back here, you now be able to create your visual, like your dashboard that you want to create at the end of the day. That's where you now come back. And then that data that you are finished cleaning, all right, is going to now load up here in the data pane, right? This is called the data pane, where your data set gets to now show. So this is your data pane here. You see your data set here. So you get to see the columns that you're working with in your data set. The columns that you're going to be working with in your data set, they are all here, right? And if you want to see how your data set looks like, you can come here to your table view, click on your table view, you see what your data set that you just finished cleaning in Power Query, you see what it looks like here, right? And yeah, so now we're moving into building what? DAX. So for us to build DAX, okay, for us to build DAX, we have to look at the ribbon bar here. Like I said, this is the ribbon bar. So in the ribbon bar, if you come down here, you can see where we have calculation group. So the ribbon bar has divisions. So we have the division in different groups. So we have the data group here, we have the query group here, we have the insert group, we have the calculation group, we have the sensitivity group. So they are grouped into different things. And on top of it, we have the tabs, right? So now if we look at it now, so in case when you're working with Power Query or with Power BI and then you're being asked, oh, please, can you kindly go to the calculation group and then get us a task? it will start running helter-skelter and say, oh, where exactly is that? I don't even know where that is. Like, does it exist in this particular application that I use it? Yes, it does. Okay, it's a group. So it's a calculation group in what? Your ribbon bar. Right? So we will click on, you see new measures. So Power BI already comes with some queries, so sorry, with some DAX already preloaded in them. Okay, so if you click on quick measures, it's just going to pop up, and then you have this here. You can see average by category, variance by category, and the rest, and the rest, and the rest. So there are some queries, sorry, there are some measures that are already here at the end of the day, but you might look at it and then none of them is what you really want to use, which brings you to the point where you want to create yours, right? Like in this case now, we don't have revenue, right? So since we don't have revenue, we want to create the revenue, right? Because every single dashboard that you create, first of all, you need to understand what is called KPIs. So KPIs are called key performance indicators, which is now what every organization gets to look at first. Any single time they are working with, they want to see what is going on. The first thing they want to see, they want to know is what is working? What are the numbers? How much did we make? Right? How much did we lose? What is just working? What is not working? Where do we go from here? They want to see that numbers first. So every organization cutting across whether health, sales and marketing, business, whichever industry, finance, they first of all want to see what the KPIs, which is what the key performance indicators. So that's the first thing we're going to be building. And it's one of the reasons why we also have to do it, what task. So you come here, you see new measures, and you click on new measures, right? So once you click on new measures, it pops up on your screen like this. Okay, so it pops up on your screen like this, and then you can now decide to change this now because you want to rename it from just measures to a particular measure. So in this case, you can just type total revenue, right? So once you type total revenue, you can now build your DAX from there. So you now say total revenue equal to, right? Your total revenue. So your total revenue is going to now be calculation, which is like your unit price times your quantity sold in this case, right? So since I've already built the DAX, I'm just going to display it for you to just see. Okay, so I don't want to show you the concept of how you get to build a DAX. So I'm just going to open the total revenue, which is here. So this is my total revenue, right? So my total revenue, I now used formulas. So like I said, that is about using formulas. So if you thought you ran away from mathematics back then in school, well, welcome back. We're still welcoming you back here again, okay, to actually do some little calculations. And actually, you don't have to cram all these things in your head. You don't have to. Now we live in the world of AI, right, which makes things even more easier, right? You don't have to start cramming so many formulas. You just need to understand the concept so that you can identify what is correct and what is wrong, okay, to spot out the errors. So you can leverage on it, definitely. So now this is how the total revenue was calculated. We now set the sum, right? So every function has what we call argument, right? Every function has what we call arguments. And those arguments are what helps a function to perform, to be able to execute the task that you've given to it, which is like this particular formula at the end of the day. Okay, so we now say the sum, right? We now bring in what transaction, because this is what a transaction data set, right? So it gets to give you the expression of what you're supposed to do, right? So if we type it in sum X, it now brings in the transaction, and then you now get to calculate this is the transaction quantity times the unit price at the end of the day. And then you close your brackets, and then you hit enter key on your keyboard, or you just click the commit here. So you can see the tick here. You can just click tick here and you get that in your data, right? So if you were able to at least do total revenue, let me see you type it in the chat. At least you were able to do total revenue from what you just saw on the screen right now. Okay, you were able to walk through and you did total revenue. Let me see you type it in the chat. At least somebody should be able to do that. Somebody, okay, somebody should be able to do that. Nobody. Oh, you couldn't load the data set. Yeah, my screen is showing build visuals with it. Basically, my screen has been here. Okay. So um so okay, so I think we can definitely. So I'm just going to share, all right, and then we'll just continue. Okay. So definitely you can always come back to the video and just get to see all this. But however, I will not have the time to show you all the DAX that I use in this particular. If you're interested in knowing more of these DAX, definitely you should stay to the end of this video or the end of this program, right? You should actually stay to the end because we definitely have something to say to you. So first of all, um I'm going to be building the dashboard now, right? Which is total revenue. I'm going to be creating a KPI. But before I create a KPI, I need what is called I need what is called okay, so I need what is called what a title because you definitely need to give a title to your dashboard. And please, if you haven't filled the attendance form, try your possible best to fill the attendance form, right? The form is in the charts. Please try your best to fill the attendance form. Okay. And then so I'm going to be building the text box. So I'll just come here to click text box, right? So text box now helps me to be able to write out what my title is going to look like, and I'll just call this a coffee shop analytics. And then I'll just have this to be the executive revenue overview. So that's what I'm going to be having here. And then I'll just highlight every single thing. And I'm just going to make it bold, right? And then I'm just going to change the color to white because I'm going to be having a different background for it. And possibly I'll just increase the size to, let's say maybe a 16, or I might have to reduce it again. So let me just extend this here. And I think basically, so then I want to change my background. So I'll just go. So when you want to format your visuals, you just come down here to format your visuals, and then you come down to wallpaper, come down to colors. Then I'm just going to change the color for my background, right? So because the color that I want to use is not here, I just come to more colors, and then I just get to like type out the code of the color that I want to use, and it will definitely come into D1 and then 3, 2, 1. Okay, looking good now. So still gonna come back here and drag this up. And I'm gonna format this. Okay, so I'm going to change the background of this to fit in here. So yeah, this should be good for me. Okay, so quickly, I'm just going to have this here. All right, so that's my title bar right there. And the next thing I want to build is my KPIs, which is first of all, I'll start with what total revenue. So once I click on total revenue, so what you use to build your KPI is um, a card. So you have a card here. If you come to your visualization pane, you have a card here. So you click on this. Once you click on it, you see that every single thing just automatically just changed to that particular KPI that you were looking at in that dashboard. So you now get to like format it, right? To look exactly like what you need it to be. So you come down to formatting, change the background color, and you change the color to, I think I'm going to use a different color for this as well. So I just wanted to just play around with the entire colors. Just make it very beautiful. Okay. So like I said, you can always come back to this video to watch. Okay. So this is one, B2, there's 4, and then 3, 6. Okay. Then I'm just going to add a visual border to it. So like I said, you can always come back to this video to watch it. And then do what I did. Okay. And then here you go. And then I'm just going to change my category, change this to white. Yeah. And then I come here and then I'm going to change this to, what do I have here? Let me see. I'm just going to change the color. I want it to look beautiful, just like what we had. So I think I'm going to have a gold here. And I'm just going to have a different color here, which is going to be a D4, A, F, then 3, 7. Okay, so this is it, looking beautiful. Then I can now resize it to what I want it to look like. And then I can now take it up here. So I added something to make it look like a 3D kind of, KPI. Then I can just copy this now. So Control C and Control V and paste it, then bring it over here. So like you can see, Power BI is like, it has its own intelligence or to make the whole thing creation very easy and, good at the end of the day. So I think I'm just going to also have this to be gold. So let me have the effect of this visual pane to be gold. Yeah. So I also have this to also be gold. Okay, so you can see my dashboard is already coming to life, like how we want it to be. And then the next KPI I'm going to be having here will be total transactions. So definitely they want to know. Now they've seen the total revenue that they've made so far. They want to now know how many transactions did we actually do within this period of time, that is January to June, right? So I'm just going to take this out and then I'm going to come to the transaction ID and then I'm going to summarize this again, right? I'm just going to make this to be count. So this is now the total number of, because we definitely need to count how many transactions did they execute at the end of the day. So that brought us to this part, right? And here, I'm just going to change this to total transactions. Okay. So changing this to total transactions, and there I go, right? And I think I'm just going to also going to change the color for the call out here to be white instead. Yeah, I just want my dashboard to look good. So try your possible best to follow me though. Even though I know some persons have not actually loaded their data, maybe because I was too fast. So, however, don't worry, we're here for you. And then the next one I'm going to be loading up here is I want to have the, let me have the peak time when you had most of the sales, right? So I already created a DAX for this, right? That's why I can have this. So this now brings us to the peak time where I actually had most of the sales. And I think I'm going to be changing the visual here to this. So the peak time they had the sales was, most sales happened around 10 a.m. Okay. So definitely, if you're interested to know how I got this, you know how to definitely reach out to us and then you'll get an insight to that. Okay. So, and then I want to bring in what is that exactly is the growth level, right? The revenue growth level. So we want to know, did we actually make good growth during the revenue, right? Did we grow with our revenue or not? Okay. So, so okay. So now at this point, I want to copy this, Ctrl C and Ctrl V, and then paste it here, right? And then we want to know our revenue growth as well. So I'm going to bring in my total period of growth, right? So I want to know our revenue growth, and this should be in general percentage. Okay, and I think I want to also reduce the percentage. I want it to be a round figure. Okay, so I think this is better. And then I can now change the color. I want it to be this. Okay, so now just to give you an insight about what I just did so far. Now, looking at it now, I just generated some KPIs, right, with DAX. That's what gave us total revenue. And that same, we now generated another KPI that now gave us this peak revenue time to know the particular time where um where we now got the time to know that this is when they were selling most, right? And then we now have the total period of growth as well. Okay. And then that's how we now got to have these KPIs that we have here, right? And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is creating a visual, right? I'm going to be creating a visual to indicate, let's see how this has been happening. Okay, let's see how this has been happening. Uh, Revenue moving per month. So we want to see how that happened. Revenue moving per month. So we're going to be picking the transaction date, right? So once we pick the transaction date, we now take out the year, take out the quarter, and take out the day. Okay. And then we now made it with the total revenue that we created earlier. Okay. And then I'm going to now be visualizing it with a line chart. Okay. So in case you want to also see your visuals, you can always click on focus mode and it will bring you into the visual to see it fully, right? So, and then you can now also customize it to what you want it to look like. So in your background here, you just click on this and then basically this to change the color, bring in your visual border. So your visual border is just having a rounded corner at the end of the day. Okay. And then this is going to change to 20 just to have a rounded corner. And then you can also change the color of it to this to have that golden uh, corner that comes out. And then the shadow here, you can also change it to this to have that 3D effect at the end of your visuals. And then you now come here to your line because I want to change this line. I want it to match up with what I have. So I'm going to change this to have gold instead. So now one thing is you might want to get every single thing I'm saying right now. Okay. But I'll tell you the truth is you might not be able to get every single thing I'm saying right now. Okay. Or I'm doing right now in the class. Okay. Right now, because Me now, I'm trying to build this in a short period of time. So if I want to take all the time to like explain bit by bit, then we might spend the next 3, 4 hours, even 5 hours here, and we won't even get to the point where I've gotten to, right? So that's why I'm trying to see how to get to a certain level. Then we can now answer your questions, any questions you get to have. Oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? Just to now bring you up to speed, right? For you to be able to catch up. And then you can also go back and watch the recording as well to also see how to follow up on step by step what I did and how I got to do what I did, right? So basically, and when you're using Power BI, you just get to like play around with all this. You can explore these visuals here. Okay, come to the formatting, get to explore each and every one of them. That's how each and every one of us learned, right? We didn't know all this in one day or in just one particular class. We learned step by step, day by day, and that's how we got to have it the way you see it appear. And you're like, oh, wow, this is looking lovely and all. Okay. So I'm not also expecting you to have every single thing or to get every single thing in this first class, right? Um, I'm not expecting you to have every single thing in this first class. Okay, it's going to take a while, but give yourself the leverage to learn step by step, one thing at a time, and then you get to have it the way it is. So I'm just going to drag this. I'd rather use this instead. Okay, so just adjust it to look beautiful. And the title here, I'm just going to have this to be. This is going to be the monthly, or I just have this to be, yeah, this is going to be monthly revenue. All right. So monthly revenue trend. Okay. And then I'll change the color to, let me have this to be the color, and then I can just make it bold. All right. So you can drop your questions actually in the chat box. Okay. You can drop your questions in the chat box, then I'll get to attend to them once I am done. Okay. I think that's just going to save us the whole stress and time. Okay. So you can drop your questions in the chat box because I know definitely you have a lot of questions to ask. And some persons are like looking at it and it's not looking like it's looking strange. Okay. And it seems like I'm too fast. So I'm just trying to see how to get this done so that we can just see the beautiful part of what you can do with Power BI, right? And get to explore. So we're just going to be looking at the total revenue as well. Total revenue by I think I'll just use let me just so I can just copy this, Control C, Control V, and just have this and just reduce it. All right. And then I use it for something else. So total revenue by the store location, that's what I'm going to have. And then I'm going to be using a bar chart here to definitely visualize this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up here. All right. Okay, so I'm coming. So let me take the product. Where is it? 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 Okay, let me use the unit price. So let me use the unit price instead. All right, so now I'm just going to change this. So I'm just going to change the color of this. Yeah, I think the visuals are like, okay, so I'm just going to change the bars to this. No, let me change it to this instead. All right, then I'm just going to bring in data labels. So instead of having the other ones, so data labels are like, instead of having the visuals down here, you just bring them here instead. Okay. And they just get to appear inside of your chart. And yeah, I'm going to change this to this white. And then I'll come back here to the parts where I have this and I'll take this off. So this is going to look better. Okay. Then I'll just extend this and then just have this here. And then I'll reduce this again. And then this should be, I'm going to change the title to, so the title will be revenue by store. So these are like the three different stores that they have. And we are trying to see how to track the revenue by the different stores to see which of the store is actually making most of the revenue for us. And you can see at this point that the Hell's Kitchen is actually making most of the revenue for us, right? And this already explains that the chart shows that we've had sales increasing right from the month of February down to the month of June, right? This is the revenue we've been making so far, and that is it. Then we can now copy this as well and then paste it and just drag it up. So this is just to help you easily just visualize what you're doing quickly, okay, without having to stress yourself to um, build it from scratch again. So we just have this here, okay? And then I'm just going to take this out as well, and then take this out. And then I'm going to build another visual inside of this, which is going to be like revenue by category. So I'll just pick the total revenue and then the product category as well. And then I want to use the donut chart to actually get this. Okay. So I can open this up now, right? And you can see these are all the products we have. We have the coffee, we have tea, we have bakery, we have drinking coffee, coffee beans, and all that. These are like our different products. And at the end of the day, we can see that coffee made most of the sales for us, right? So in this case now, we can also decide to play around with the visuals, okay? And decide to play around with the visuals, which is like you come to the slicers to like slice, get to change the colors of the slicers, what they look like. Okay, so I think I'm just going to walk around some of them and then just to make it inside. I don't want it, I want the details to, I prefer it inside. So the thing is just going to come inside and then I'll take this out. Okay, like I said, this whole thing, you can always play around with it. Okay, you might not be able to build exactly like this at the first time. So don't feel like maybe I'm moving too fast, I've left you behind. Okay, don't feel that way. Okay, don't just feel that way. I haven't left you behind. I haven't forgotten you guys. I have not forgotten you guys. Okay, so I need to change title here to revenue by category. And then, okay, so let me come back here. Okay, so this is my revenue by category. Then just going to open this up. So I don't think I'm going to spend so much time trying to change all these colors and visuals, right? I'm just going to let it be the way it is so we don't spend so much time here. And basically, I think I'm just going to have this here to be the different sliders to be the way it is. And then data models, batch visuals. right? I think I'm just gonna allow them to be that way. And yeah, so that because I know already you're already feeling overwhelmed, like everything is just looking so much, looking all working at the same time, and you're like, ah, where am I? Where do I get this? Where do I go from here? And all. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is like the entire data set. This is like the entire dashboard that we get to build at the end of the day, right? This is every single thing, all right? Every single thing that you saw at the beginning, this is what we have just done. And this is just for you to see how you can actively build a sales analysis dashboard to help an organization, like a marketing team, to be able to decide to know, okay, fine. With this now, the organization they can now know that fine. We made a total of over $698 in revenue in total. Then we actually had a transaction of over 149K, right? And the peak time that people were buying most from us was 10 a.m. Right? It was around 10 a.m. in the morning. That's when people were buying from our stores. Okay. And we actually made a good progress, during this period of sales, we made a good progress. We've grown up more than 100%, right? And then per month, we can now see that, okay, so we started January, February, it seems like there was a downside. And then in March, we now moved up, we started going up. Our revenue was moving. So that means we're actually doing well, right? We're actually doing very well. And then which of the stores is actually like producing most of the revenue for us, which is now the Hell Kitchen, making over 172K dollars to show us that, okay, this is where we need to invest more. We need to see what the strategy that's working here. How can we apply to Lower Montana to make sure that they can beat up to the standard of making more revenue for us, right? And then which of the products at the end of the day is now getting to like make most of it. And in this case, now we can see now that the coffee is actually making most of the revenue. In fact, coffee made over a $269, right? $269,000 for us, okay, which made most of our revenue, right? Followed by tea. Tea made over a $196,000 for us in our revenue. So in this case now, we already have an insight. We know where to focus. We know what is working, what is not working, and we know where to invest. So if we are to do a marketing campaign at this point now, we can definitely know where to focus on. All right. So this is just an insight into it. And I think this is where I'm going to be handing over to my colleague, okay? Because definitely I know you're curious, you want to know more, you want to see, oh, is it something that I can really do? This is something that you can actually do. So you definitely want to know more about this and also see, can I definitely dive into it and then learn these things step by step? Because now everything just looks like it's a lot. So you can definitely learn this step by step, okay? Where we get to take you one after the other, tell you this is how you build this is where you go to, this is how you get to build this is how you get to, put this and all that, right? So I'm going to be letting my colleague come on board to actually tell you about this. Okay. And if you have any other question you want to ask, you can always straight into the chat box and I'll be very, very happy to answer all of your questions in the chat box. Okay. So, Priscilla, are you still there?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So, I'll be handing over
All
to
right.
you now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're
Hi,
welcome.
everybody. I'm back on again. If you can hear me, please leave a yes in the chat. All right. If you can hear me, just go ahead and leave a yes in the chat. Okay. Before I go ahead with this other half of the chat. All right. Um, Looking forward to your response. All right. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I'm breaking up a bit. How about now? Can you hear me? I think I'm just going to prioritize audio. Can you hear me now? Is it better? Okay. All right, good. then. Thank you, Samuel. So just I know that this was pretty high level. The practical session we just had, it was really high level, just to show you the possibilities. As a data analyst, okay? Not to worry, when you get started with our classes, you'd see how pretty detailed they are, okay? So I'm just going to ask a quick question. I know that there's this particular fear that people usually have whenever they hear of data analyst or the role of a data analyst. So right now, in this time and age with AI and everything, do you think it's still possible to get a job as a data analyst? Let me hear your thoughts. Do you think it's still very much possible for you to get a job as a data analyst? Say you want to start learning today with every single thing that you've heard, right? So Richard says yes. Please leave your responses coming in. Do you think it's still possible to get a job as a data analyst? Fantastic. I like the kind of people that are right here in this session, people that are not scared or worried, because way too many times I hear people saying, oh, the job of a data analyst is too rampant, it's too common, there are no more jobs. And then I go ahead to ask, how many data analysts do you know? And then they're like, I barely know four of them. Okay. So I really like that we know that it's possible to get a job as a data analyst, even with the emergence of AI. And just like Samuel has said on the chat, it's possible with the right training and skills, which is what we're going to be talking about here at Tenalytics. So right here on my slide, okay, I've literally attached the testimonial of a stay-at-home mom that was able to transition into data analytics. Okay, I'll tell you how she was able to transition. So I'm literally just gonna play a video. All right, so that you hear us speak about a transition journey. Now, bear in mind that this is somebody that okay, as soon as she can hear, just leave a yes in the chat. All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat and I was with the March cohort in Analytics. And joining Analytics and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along. And then they presented me with so bright, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. In Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it's the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future.
So sorry. I think Priscilla's network is kind of shaky right now, but just give her a few minutes. I think she's going to be back. So sorry about it. Please, can we hear me? If you can hear me, just kindly type one in the chat. Okay. All right. So yeah. So please just give her a few minutes. I think her network is kind of shaky right now. So I guess she's going to be back in a few minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Bessie. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, apologies. I just had to quickly switch my ISPs. I was having issues with the other one, so I'm just gonna go ahead now. It's way better now. So I'm gonna play the testimonial again. And please, when you can hear, just leave a yes in the chat. All right?
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Analytics, and joining Analytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Analytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, you have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked, and I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student, and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Analytics to go back to. They are the best, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable, one I've come across so far. And that's a very good advantage.
All right, so I hope we were able to get Ikmat's testimonial. If you heard every bit of that, apologies for the downtime. But if you heard every bit of that, please leave a yes in the chat before I go ahead. All right, if you heard every bit of what Ikmat shared, please leave a yes in the chat. All right, just indulge me for a bit and leave a yes in the chat if you heard every single thing what she said. I'm waiting for our responses before I go ahead. I'd just like to know that there's somebody that can still hear me. So please just leave a yes. All right, thank you. So just like we said earlier, it's still very possible to get a job as a data analyst. And I know somebody on the chat, which is Samuel, he did mention that with the right skills and the right training, you're able to get a job. Now, if you want to begin any journey in tech, okay, I like to think that the whole point is for you to get a job afterwards, right? That's like the goal, right? If that is the goal for you, please leave a yes in the chat. If the goal for you is to learn and then get a job, please leave a yes in the chat. All right, just let me know quickly in the chat, and then we're going to carry on. I see a couple of us. All right, thank you so much, Remo, for indulging me. I'm just going to call out our names just so I'm sure that we're here. So I see Ade, Aina, Charles, Damilola, Dora, Jason, Joseph, Kolade, Matilda, Morufat, Oluseyi, Peter, Redmi, Richard, Temitope, Timmy, Vivek. All right, thank you, Matilda. So yes, I'd like to make a fair assumption that the goal is for us to transition and then get a job. Now, when you're trying to transition, it's really good that you actually understand what these employers want from you, because that way you're being strategic about the learning journey. And when you look through every single job opening, every single data analytics opening, there are two things employers would always want from you. The first is the skills. The second is the experience. Now, the skills, of course, with the emergence of AI, you also have to be very proficient in using AI, okay, as a data analyst. But first of all, you have to gain the skills and then, gain AI proficiency. So employers want these two things from you. There are certain skills that they require, and then they need experience as well. So for the skills, we've done our research, okay? For every single data analyst opening that is available right there, there are some common tools that they would require you to use, and then you have them here. So if you're thinking to get into data analytics, these are the tools that you need to focus on. All right, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Microsoft Fabric for analytics. So these are the things that you need to focus on, because when you are aware of what employers want, it sort of guides your decision. Okay. So when it comes to the skills, these are the things that you need to learn. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying, they've taking a lot of courses, they've watched a whole lot of YouTube videos, but they haven't gotten a job yet. Now, from research, the mistakes that you're making at this, first thing, you're learning by watching only videos. I've shown you the tools that you need to know how to use: Excel, Power BI, SQL, Microsoft Fabric, ChatGPT for analytics, and all of that. But if you want to get a job as a data analyst in this time and age, you can't be learning by watching only videos. All right. Don't make that mistake of doing that, because they want to see that you have skills and they want to see that you have experience. Watching videos does not equate to you doing, you gaining the experience. Sometimes when we watch, we feel like, okay, I can, literally, I've learned this thing. When you've watched the video, you feel confident that you've learned the said thing. But when you're being questioned, you figure that you know next to nothing about, what you said you've learned by watching video. So one of the biggest mistakes I find people making is learning by watching only videos. Second is no real project. If you want to get a job as a data analyst in this time and age, you should have project. Projects help with your experience. Okay. So you see Excel, for example, there are certain things that you should know how to use Excel to do. The first is data cleaning. All right. Now, let's say you're in front of an employer and they ask you, oh, tell me one time you used Excel for data cleaning. Okay. Now, if you learned that by working on projects, by solving actual problem, by cleaning the data of an actual company, you would literally be able to, speak from experience. So you need real projects for you to gain experience. Okay. Now, the third mistake is absolutely no work experience. Even if you watch videos, even if you work on projects, these employers want to see that you have experience on your CV. So how do you do that? How do you gain the experience? I will be talking you through that. Then you use generic CVs and, LinkedIn profile. You don't want to be making those mistakes in big 2026. For your CV, there are certain keywords that it should carry as a data analyst, same as your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Then, of course, you need mentors. I know that you've heard way too many times that the job of the data analyst is saturated and stuff. But if you actually have mentors that do their research, that have walked the talk, you will find that the job of a data analyst is one that is still growing in demand till today because on a daily basis, data is being generated. All right. Now, what's the best way to learn if you want to land a job? So you see all of the tools that I highlighted earlier. The best way for you to learn them is by actually learning in a project-based environment. So don't focus on learning theories. Theories don't get you the job. If you're synonymous, if you know the job market in any region, one thing is common: experience. Experience. They want you to have experience. But you need a job to gain experience, but they won't even give you the job if you don't have experience. So it's a loop that keeps running. So how you break out of that loop is to ensure that when you are learning, you're not just watching videos. Okay, binge watching videos on Coursera, Udemy, YouTube, and the likes. Those are beautiful platforms. But for beginners, you need to focus on, doing the actual work, learning in a project-based environment, solving problems as a data analyst for different companies, generating insights, okay, and giving recommendations. So that's the best way you want to learn in a project-based environment. Learn by doing the real work, okay? Now, if you do the real work, nobody takes it away from you. It's more like, you being asked certain questions like, how do you turn on your PC? The laptop or the mobile device you have currently with you, if they ask you, how do you turn it on? This is something you're used to doing. Okay, so even if you're sleepy, you can literally answer that. You equate that to working on projects by learning by doing the real work. So if anybody asks you, oh, tell me one time you used Power BI to do anything or even Excel, you're able to speak from experience because that was something that you did. Nobody can take it away from you. So it is quite important that you learn in a project-based environment. Okay. Now here at Analytics, you get to complete over 15 projects. Okay, to solidify your understanding of these tools and how you use them to solve problems. So I put a snippet of some of the projects that you will get to work on. So you get over 15 projects here at Analytics to help you gain the right knowledge, to help you learn the right way. Okay. Now, these are the things that would help you build the experience you need. Number one, the project from class. Okay. Now, the essence of that project is, for you to be able to showcase to these employers that you have the experience. Okay. And that ties to your portfolio. So while you're learning, if you didn't work on any project, what would serve as your evidence of knowledge or proof of work? Okay, so you see why at the beginning stage, you need to literally learn by working on projects. Okay, you need to literally learn by working on projects at the beginning. Now, you also need to go through an internship to solidify your knowledge. So, what we've done is for your internship, we've partnered with a company that is into the consulting space. And what they do for you is to ensure that you gain that real world experience. You get to work in teams as a data analyst. And because of the way, you would be doing the internship and learning, you can have two companies as your work experience. The first is Tenalytics, and the second is, Amdari, which is the company you'll be doing your internship with. Now, if you go through job descriptions, you literally hear them say, we need you to collaboration as part of the soft skills, problem solving, teamwork, and all of that. You're able to get all of that through internship. So here at Analytics, you get 2 months of internship. And of course, you get to learn how to, show evidence of your work in a portfolio. So a portfolio is more like proof of work. You say you know how to use Excel. You've used Excel to generate actionable insights, strategic insights. Now, these employers want to see, what kind of projects you worked on. So the only place they get to go to see your experience is your portfolio. All right. That's the only place they get to go to. So you also need to show evidence of your work in a portfolio. Now, how do you stand out basically? How do you distinguish yourself? How do you position yourself as the best person for the job? Because in as much as you're learning, you're gaining the right skills and the experience, positioning also matters. Now, the first way you get to position is ensuring that your CV is properly reviewed and revamped. So the skills you'll be learning, they can apply to multiple data analyst roles. So just see data analyst as an umbrella term. Underneath that, we have the medical data and reporting analyst, the information analyst, the business intelligence analyst, the marketing analyst. So there are a whole lot of other roles under data analytics. And when you want to apply for them, you have to ensure that your CV is properly tailored and it carries the right keyword. That's one way to stand out as the best person for the job. So if your CV carries the right keyword, it gets past the applicant tracking system and it gets a chance to get to the employer, and then they can then call you for an interview. So you need to ensure that your CV is properly reviewed and revamped, highlighting your strengths so that recruiters notice you instantly. Okay. Now, the second is your LinkedIn profile. For those of us that are very introverted, we don't like to share on LinkedIn, whether you like it or not. When you send out your applications, these employers or recruiters, they go on LinkedIn to actually check you out. That's like your digital CV, okay? So it has to show that you're a data analyst, you're a health tech analyst. So it has to also carry the right keyword. Okay, now the goal is to get a job at the end of the day, just like we rightly stated on the call. So it's also important that you understand your region and what applies to your region. And how we help you do this is we first of all teach you how to apply to jobs. All right. If it's sponsorship roles that you're looking for as a data analyst, remote roles, name them freelance roles. So we teach you how to apply to these jobs, and we don't stop there. We provide these jobs for you. So we give you something like a one-stop shop, so that you don't have to go and start combing through different job boards to apply to jobs. You just head on to one platform, you search for the kind of jobs that you want, and you apply. Now, in order for us to achieve this, we subscribe to different job boards across different regions so that we can provide you access to these jobs easily and you don't have to pay for them. Okay. Then we have interview preparation. So now you've built the skills. All right, you've gained the experience, your CV is properly optimized, and then you have applied for a job and you have an interview coming up. A lot of people don't usually show up for their interviews because they are scared of the technical interviews. How do they go through it? Okay, so here at Analytics, we have our interview preparation session, such that you heard Ikmat talk about, she getting prepped for interview by one of our experts. Okay, so that increases your chance of success. So whenever you have an interview coming up, you don't even have to chase anybody. You just have to book for a prep session, and you get somebody that would, sit with you one on one. Okay, you turn on your camera, they turn on their camera, and they grill you and prepare you for that interview. So they ensure that they highlight your strength, your weaknesses, and then when it's time for the real interview, you get a chance to ace that interview. Then, of course, we provide you with reference letters. That's something you also need, recommendation letters. Okay, so because of how you're learning by doing, you're able to have 10 analytics as part of your work experiences. Okay, and then we're able to provide you with recommendation letter. If you're learning through YouTube, Udemy, Coursera, you won't get all of this. But because, if you choose to learn with analytics, you will be getting recommendation letters. Okay, then of course we have on-the-job support. So say that you get your first job and you don't know how to navigate, you have some technical difficulties. You still have Tenalytics there to prepare you. Although a lot of our students don't usually come back for this because of how you'll be learning 6 months of intensive learning. But this is something we still have available just in case you need it at any point in time. You have Tenalytics to support you even after you've gotten a job. All right. Then, of course, you get weekly mentorship sessions where you hear people that have gotten jobs before you. They come and they share to you how they were able to get jobs. And of course, your Upwork profile will also be optimized. Upwork is more like a freelance platform. For those of us that have jobs at the moment and we're confident, we're comfortable, but we just want to skill up. Okay, but at the same time, just want to do some freelancing gigs, contract gigs, no full-time gig. Upwork is that platform for you, okay, for you to make the quick bucks while still maintaining your full-time job. All right, so we teach you how to optimize your Upwork profile. And that is how we've been able to help a whole lot of students with zero experience. All right, right here on my screen, I have somebody that moved from being a teacher to being a healthcare data analyst in the US. Somebody with zero experience in tech, a teacher to a data analyst. Then I also have here Mawutin from an operations manager to a pathology data analyst in the UK. All of that took 8 months, okay? And it's basically 6 months of learning and 2 months of internship. That's the career trajectory, basically. So you learn for 6 months, you gain the right skills, and then you have 2 months of internship. I know that for some of us on this call, after hearing me say 6 months of learning, 2 months of internship, you're probably worried. You're on a time crunch, okay? You also have work and you're trying to upskill as soon as you can. So is she telling me that I would have to do the entire 6 months? Absolutely not. Okay. And that's because, 3 months into the program, our students are already applying for jobs because from day one of your live class, you've already started learning. You've already started building the right skills, working on projects. 3 months in, you're already applying, putting out your application because we've worked on your CV, your LinkedIn profile, and then you start testing out your CV. That is how a lot of people have been able to get jobs before the end of the training. So you hear people say 4 months in, they were able to get jobs. 5 months in, they were able to get jobs. That's because in as much as the training is for 6 months, you're not waiting till the end of the training before you start applying. By the third month, you're already putting out your applications. So for those of us that are also worried about, our current schedule, we have multiple shifts, we have family. Not to worry, the entire 6 months is built around your existing schedule. So we've been doing this for over 5 years, so we have experience. We've seen that over 95% of everybody looking to transition are working class professionals. So the learning journey has to be very, very flexible so that it can accommodate your schedule as well as time for family. So how did we literally break down the learning journey? So you have your live classes. So you see those classes where you come to learn from the very beginning, from scratch. They are done on Saturdays, the live classes. So you see the instructor in real time, you get to speak to them, you get to ask them your questions. They are done on Saturdays alone. And it's not every Saturday in the month, just 2 Saturdays. Remember, the whole point of this is for you to be able to upskill skill while you're still doing your job, because you also have to pay bills while you're trying to upskill. So you just get 2 Saturdays in a month, all right? And then we have class schedules that will suit you. So for the class schedules, we have the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. class. This is UK time. For those of us that are in Europe, UK, Africa, you have the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. class. Okay, and then you also have the 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. class, UK time. So if you work in the mornings, you can attend the evening class. If you work in the evenings, you can attend the morning class. While for all of us in North America, you get the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time class. So your classes are in the mornings alone. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time class. That is for those of us in North America. All right. Now, apart from this 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time, you still have 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Mountain Time. So you pick the one that is best for you. Is it the 4 a.m. one or the 11 a.m. one? You get to choose. All right. And just attend the 3 hours live class. Now, every single live class is recorded just so that if you miss anyone, you're able to go over the recording and you have a lifetime access to these recordings. Okay. Now, if you think about it, just 2 Saturdays in a month, is this actually enough? The truth is, it isn't enough. But what we run here at Analytics is a blended learning model. So while you have the live classes, you're still learning Mondays to Fridays. Just that you have the control. You decide when you want to learn. So here's how it works. On Monday to Fridays, you have access to our learning management system. That learning management system contains videos, resources, projects that have been broken down into bits, and you're expected to dedicate at least 1 hour every day. Any time of the day, it's entirely up to you. The power is in your hand. So Monday, I'm a morning person, so I'd like to learn really early in the mornings, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. So if you're like me that likes to learn early in the mornings, so from 2 to 3, at least 1 hour that Monday, you've gone over your projects, you've gone over your videos, okay, and you're good to go for that day. You do the same on Tuesday, at least 1 hour on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you are still learning every other day. Okay, just that you're choosing when you want to learn and where you want to learn. Now, while you're still learning, going self-paced Monday to Friday, that doesn't mean that whenever you have questions, you have to wait till the next live class before asking your questions. No. So let me give you an example. Let's say on Monday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., I've gone through my video for the day, my project for the day. And because the classes are practical, I have questions. Now, what I would do is I will book for a mini class with the instructor. Okay, so that I can ask them my question that same Monday. So you have access to these instructors, and then you can book for your mini classes and you ask them your question and you carry on with your learning journey. So you're not waiting till the next live class before you ask your question. Every day of the week, you can get your questions answered. Okay, so that's how it works to ensure that the entire schedule is really flexible. And then you get mentorship sessions on Thursdays as well. Okay, you get mentorship sessions on Thursdays. Now, on Thursdays, 10 p.m. UK time for those of us in Europe, UK, Africa, or 8 p.m. Mountain time if you're in Canada or even the United States. Okay, now having known this schedule and this learning trajectory and how it's built around your existing schedule, let me see if there's anyone here that is interested in getting started. Okay, so if you're interested in starting your data analytics journey, please leave a 1 in the chat. Okay, if you're interested in starting your data analytics journey, you're well aware what Analytics has to offer you, the schedule and all of that, and you'd like to go ahead, please leave a yes in the chat before I go ahead, because this other part of the session is basically talking about, how you can get started and the discount I have for you on this call. So if you want to begin your data analytics journey, please leave a yes in the chat. All right. Please indulge me, okay, so that I know if we should bring the session to a close here or somebody is interested in getting started. Okay. So I'm just going to be calling your names as usual, just to be sure that you're with me and you can hear me. All right. Thank you, Matilda. Thank you, Remo. Okay. So I've got a couple of people that are quite interested in starting. Now, what's the way forward? What's the next step if you want to begin your data analytics journey? We do have a class coming up on the 8th of August. All right. That is when our next cohort is beginning. Now, if you start in August, you know that application runs in cycles. And then in October, November, December, companies are looking to fill up vacant positions so that January you start, working. So if you're thinking you want to start next year with a new job, it's very much possible, just only if you're interested in starting with the August cohort. So we do have a class that begins on the 8th of August, all right? And what would it cost you to actually join the class? Okay, what would it cost you to join the class? Now, the full amount of the class is $1,250 US. That's the full amount. Whether you're interested in the LTech Analytics course or the Data Analytics course, the full amount is $1,250 US. But for those of us on this call that want to get started in August, there's a discount for you. Okay, so instead of paying $1,250 US, you get to pay a total of $1,000. All right, you get to pay a total of $1,000 and you can pay that in 5 installments. So what I'm saying is you don't need $1,000 on this call to get started. What you need is $200. Okay, that's what you need. In pounds, that's 150 pounds. So that is pretty much all you need if you want to get started. So I see questions. Dora is asking, do we get access to a personalized CV and LinkedIn revamp session, or is it a general session? So how it works for the LinkedIn is 2 months in. Now, when you start the class, okay, you'll get videos on how to optimize your CV as well as your LinkedIn profile. That immediately you start the class. Now you just do that, but that is not the main CV review and revamp. After you're done with that, 2 months into the course, we request for your CV. All right. And then we revamp it. Our experts go through every single CV one after the other, and then they revamp the CV. Of course, they will get the necessary details from you, and then they send it back to you. So you get a lot of sessions on CV review and revamp. You get that first session that, we're teaching you how to do it yourself. And then 2 months in, we're getting the CV from you, and then we're reviewing and revamping it and sending it back to you, getting your feedback and working on the feedback. Okay. And then, of course, you get a couple of other general sessions. So I hope that answers your question, Dara. So just let me know if that answers your question before I go ahead. All right. So if you're on this call and you're interested in the discount, okay, what you need is $200, and the equivalent of that in pounds is 150 pounds. Okay. Now, this discount was supposed to end yesterday, but then I decided to speak to the team so we could extend it for people that are interested on this call. And I only have 5 slots left. Okay. So what I would do right now is I'm going to teach you how to register. So my colleagues will be dropping the link in the chat. So if you're interested in the discount and you want to take advantage of the discount, my colleague has dropped the link in the chat, and I'm going to walk you through how you can do that now. Okay, so at this point, you might not be able to see my screen because you'd possibly be working on how you can register as well. So just follow the sound of my voice, okay? Now, when you click on the link, Okay, when you click on the link, the very first thing you would see is whether you're using your phone or your laptop, you would see Tenalytics expert courses, transform your career. So what I want you to do is just scroll down a bit. All right, scroll down a bit and you'd see the data analytics course. Now, the data analytics course is, if that's what you're interested in, you can decide to go for that. But then we have the Tech analyst course. Now, the Tech analyst course are for people that are in the health sector and were interested in applying data analytics to the health sector. So if this is you, you're a nurse, you're a care worker, you're a healthcare assistant, you're a doctor, okay? So you don't want to leave the health sector. Rather, you want to apply tech to the health sector and you're interested in data analytics, then you want to go for the health tech analyst course. So pick the one that works best for you and click on enroll now. All right. Now, when you click on enroll now, it's going to open up this platform to you. So you get to see data analytics, okay, and just wait for that to load up and you'd see another enroll now. Okay, so you'd see another enroll now. Now, what you want to do is click on that enroll now. Okay, the second enroll now. Just click on it. Okay, when you click on it, it will prompt you to register. Now, the first option you would see there is register with Google. So just click on that. No need to manually type in your name, your full name. Google already has that information. So when you click on continue with Google, it fills that up for you. So just click on continue with Google, and then you're going to see this confirm your enrollment. Okay, now when you see that, scroll down, you're going to see two cohorts, the August cohort and the September cohort. So the August cohorts are for people that want to start on time, okay? But if you don't know what your schedule is going to look like in August, but you're interested in the discount and you want to start in September, so that's still very much possible. You can go ahead to click on September. Now, when you do that, scroll down and you'd see a currency selector. So if the payment appears to you in dollars and you're in the UK, just click on that currency selector and click on GBP. All right. If you're in Canada, click on CAD. If you're in Nigeria, click on NGN. If you're in Europe, click on Euros. So pick the currency that works best for you. Okay. And then you see that we have different payment plans. So we have the pay once plan that lets you pay $950 instead of 1,250 US dollars. And then we have the two installments. So with the two installments, you get to pay $500 twice. So that's a total of $1,000. Then, of course, you have the 5 installments. So with the 5 installments, you get to pay 5 times. So that $1,000, you split it into 5. Really flexible. Every month, you're literally seeing what you're paying for. Okay, so you pay $200 right now to get started. The second month, another 200. The third, the fourth, and the fifth month. So for a class that runs for 6 months, but in the fifth month, you're still making payment. So it shows you that we're really confident you'll be getting value and it's a win-win for you. Okay, so if you want to go for the 5 installments, click on 5 installments. Thereafter, scroll down, check the box that says I confirm my information is correct, and I've read the terms and conditions, and click on pay now. So it will prompt you to put in your card details and you're good to go. All right. Remember, I have just 5 slots, just 5 people on this call are going to be going away with the early bird discount. So go ahead and register. All right, pretty simple, pretty easy. Now, that being said, we're going to move on to the question and answer part of thing now. Uremo is asking, can we choose business analysis? Absolutely. All right, there are other courses there. Just pick the one that you're interested in. Business analysis, data analytics. Pick the one that you are interested in. Okay, please keep your questions coming. If you've got questions, please leave them in the chat. If you'd like to speak, unmute your mic so that you can ask me your questions. Please indicate so that I can give you the permission to unmute your mic, all right? But pretty much just keep your questions coming. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to be off the call, and I'd like to take your questions. So just leave your questions in the chat. All right. So we have just 3 slots left. My colleague just informed me. Okay. So 3 more people and we're good to go. All right. Now, if you've got questions, please keep them coming so I can take your questions before we end the session. All right. So I'm just going to wait for your questions right now. Okay. But I'm going to call your name as I always do, just so that you know. I'm sure that you're here. So if you don't have questions, just leave a no in the chat. All right. If there are no questions, leave a no. Okay. So I see Charles. Do you have a question? Just indicate. Chinonso, Damilola, Dora, Jason, Joseph, Kolade, Matilda, Morufat, Olusheyi, Peter, Richard, Temitope, Uremu, Vivek, pardon me, Williams, all right? Please just indicate in the chat before we bring the session to a close. Do you have questions? Yes or no? All right. Yes or no. If you're going through the payment, okay. If you're going through the payment and you have questions to ask, just let me know as well. All right. Please just indicate in the chat before we bring the session to a close. All right. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for your responses. Okay, so no more questions then. So we're gonna bring the session to a close. I hope you had a good time. Please fill the attendance form so that you get access to the recording and you can go through the practical aspect as well as the testimonials I have on my slide. All right. So that being said, thank you so much. I hope you had a fantastic time. We're going to bring the session to a close now. I can't wait to see every single person in class so you're able to transition and then get that journey in tech kickstarted. All right. So I hope you had a good time. If you had a good time, please leave a yes in the chat before we bring the session to a close. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Rumu. So please enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to bring the session to a close now. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so Joseph is asking, can someone who is interested in data analytics also do health analytics? Yes, absolutely. So they both learn the same skills, the same tools, the data analyst and the health tech analyst. It's just the focus of the project. So for the health tech analyst, they focus on healthcare related projects, strictly healthcare related projects. Okay, that is the LTech analyst. But the data analysts work in projects across different industries. So yes, if you're interested in data analytics, you can also do the LTech analytics course. But that's if you're interested in applying data analytics majorly to the health sector, Joseph. I hope that's clear and I hope it answers your question. Okay, you're welcome. All right then. Okay. So we're going to bring the session to a close now. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you in class. Cheers and bye for now. Thank you.